In this lesson, you will learn about web filtering. After completing this section, you should be able to achieve the objective shown on this slide. By demonstrating competence in web filtering, you will be able to implement, maintain, and troubleshoot web filtering on FortiGate. Web filtering in FortiOS operates in one of three inspection modes: proxy, flow, or DNS. By default, FortiGate caches the rating results it receives from FortiGuard. So before it sends rating requests to FortiGuard, FortiGate checks that the website category isn't already in the local cache. You can configure the time to live, TTL, of the entries in the web filtering cache. During web filtering inspection, FortiGate first checks the static URL filter list, then the FortiGuard categories, and then the content filtering list. Finally, FortiGate can execute some advanced options, such as manipulation of HTTP headers. With encrypted traffic making up between 60 to 80% of most organizations' traffic, it has become critical that encrypted traffic is inspected in order to maintain a secure network. In the context of web filtering, FortiGate has two methods of inspecting outbound encrypted sessions: SSL certificate inspection and full SSL inspection. You can configure an SSL SSH inspection profile to use either method of inspection. When using SSL certificate inspection, FortiGate doesn't decrypt or inspect any encrypted traffic. Using this method, FortiGate inspects only the initial unencrypted SSL handshake. If the SNI field exists, FortiGate uses it to obtain the FQDN to rate the site. If the SNI isn't present, FortiGate retrieves the FQDN from the CN field of the server certificate. In some cases, the CN server name might not match the requested FQDN. For example, the value of the CN field in the digital certificate of youtube.com is google.com. So if you connect to youtube.com from a browser that doesn't support SNI, and FortiGate uses the SSL certificate inspection method, FortiGate assumes incorrectly that you are connecting to google.com and uses the google.com category instead of the category for youtube.com. You should also keep in mind that SSL certificate inspection will work only with web filtering and with some application signature detection when doing application control. It does not work with antivirus, IPS, or DLP scanning, where the full payload needs to be inspected. When doing certificate-based inspection, by default, FortiGate validates the information in the SNI field of the client's certificate against the information in CN and SAN fields coming from the server certificate. If the domain in the SNI field does not match any of the domains listed in the CN and SAN fields, FortiGate uses the domain in the CN field instead of the domain in the SNI field. You can configure FortiGate to be more strict, so it closes the client connection if the domain in the SNI field does not match any of the domains listed in the CN and SAN fields. You can also configure FortiGate to disable SNI checking altogether, so that FortiGate always uses the SNI information to obtain the FQDN to rate the site. You can configure full SSL inspection to inspect all of the packet contents, including the payload. FortiGate performs this inspection by proxying the SSL connection. Two SSL sessions are established: client to FortiGate and FortiGate to server. The two established sessions allows FortiGate to encrypt and decrypt packets using its own keys, which allows FortiGate to fully inspect all data inside the encrypted packets. You can access the FortiGuard portal to check which category a URL belongs to. In the portal, you can also request that a URL be reclassified. You can also view the FortiGuard web filter categories. You can use the FortiOS CLI to display the list of FortiGuard categories and their numerical values. You can use FortiGuard category numbers when you create web profiles using the FortiOS CLI or using scripts on FortiManager. Similar to using the GUI, you can configure different actions for each category using the CLI. You can use category numbers to test whether a specific category or subcategory is allowed or blocked. Use the URL format shown on this slide for that purpose. In the example shown on the slide, the category number 11 is gambling. The test confirms that all sites listed in this category will be blocked. The replacement message page displays the category that is blocked with other information, such as client IP, server IP, and user information. 2 session flags indicate whether the traffic is inspected in proxy-based mode or flow-based mode. The flag REDIR means the traffic is inspected in proxy-based mode. The flag NDR means the traffic is inspected in flow-based mode. In the case of proxy-based inspection, the debug flow contains the message sent to the application layer. Use the following CLI command to list error counters and other statistics related to web filtering. Diagnose WebFilter FortiGuard statistics list. A continual increase in some of the error counters usually indicates communication problems with FortiGuard. The output also shows counters for the numbers of sites that were allowed, blocked, logged, monitored, and so on. Use the same command to display counters for the web filtering cache, including memory, requests, and hits and misses. Use the Diagnose Test Application URL Filter 1 command to display all options available for the web filtering test command. You can use this command to troubleshoot issues related to web filtering. To list the content of the FortiGuard web filtering cache, use the command Diagnose WebFilter FortiGuard Cache Dump. For each URL, the output lists its rating by domain name and IP address. The rating by domain name is the first 2 digits of the first number from left to right. It is the category ID represented in hexadecimal. The rating by IP address is the first 2 digits of the second number. It is also the category ID represented in hexadecimal. The command Get WebFilter Categories lists all the categories with their respective ID numbers. In this list, the IDs are represented in decimal. So if you want to find the category name for a URL in the cache, use the first command to list the cache and convert the ID number from hexadecimal to decimal. Then use the second command to find the category name for that ID number. Another tool you can use to troubleshoot web filtering is the WebFilter Real-Time Debug. First, you can filter by user, source, IP address using the following command: Diagnose, Debug, URL Filter, Source Address. After that, you can enable the real-time debug using the following command: Diagnose, Debug, Application URL Filter -1. This slide shows an example output of the real-time debug when the URL to categorize isn't in the FortiGuard cache. The 2 messages display the URL, category, source, destination IP addresses, and service. This slide shows another example of the real-time debug. However, in this case, the URL category exists in the FortiGuard cache. Tips for troubleshooting web filtering. Get the specifics first. What URLs are having the problem? Is it random? Does it happen with all the users? Check the logs. Is the problem caused by an incorrect user group configuration? Are the user's access privileges correct? Run the real-time debug while reproducing the issue. Additional tips. Check that web filtering isn't disabled globally. If users are having intermittent issues, check that the communication with FortiGuard is stable. Check the web filtering statistics. Check also that the device is not entering conserve mode.